Good morning, traders. Welcome to the daily webinar. As promised, my entire week webinar is going to be on YouTube this week. It's free for everyone. It's kind of a promotional thing, which means if you would like to join our group, you can watch this week's webinar, see what we do, decide if this is something you want to learn. And if you do, you can join our group. Send me a Skype message. That's all I'll say here today. Send me a Skype message at MANGAL Mango 457 for details, because we will be doing a live training course in February. You need to join early. It's a single payment for lifetime access. This is not a subscription thing. You can also get these daily webinars. If you can't afford to pay for the course now, you can pay for it in installments. And while you're paying, I would give you my daily webinars for free. So one guy wrote me and said, but it's not free if I'm paying. No, it is free. You're paying for the course. You're not paying for my daily webinar. You can't afford to pay for that. So that is always free. It has always been free. For my traders, it's complimentary, free for lifetime. Once you take the course, you only pay for the course. You pay for my time that I take to train you. You're not even paying for the knowledge. Knowledge is always free. When you go to university, you pay to attend the university. You don't pay for the subject you're doing, right? You pay to attend the university. The rest of it is free. The knowledge is free because you can take it or you can don't take it. You can use it, you can don't use it. It's up to you. So if you like what we do, join us. You will learn. And we do at least 5 sessions a day. I am there in at least 3 of those sessions. Sometimes I manage to go in 5. Sometimes we do much more where my traders will do the rest of it, right? So let's go. Let's start. Dollar index. Dollar index, as I explained yesterday, the possibility of this whole pattern going up is almost 90-something%. The only thing was whether we'd make a new low and then go. Now we're confirmed it looks like it's going to go because it broke out of this structure. So your buy setup is actually forming, and this here is a buy setup. Now, the only way that changes from being a buy setup is if this actually makes a sudden drop. It's not a sell. It has to make a sudden drop here. And if we see consolidation after that, then we would consider a sell. If it goes back up, it's still a buy, right? So this sudden up move was not a buy, right? That was still a sell setup until you get a flag here. Let's go. I'll show you some of the trades we take. So instead of starting with silver and gold, I'll go with the euro immediately because those were trades we took yesterday. And I explained a step-by-step. If you haven't seen that, watch yesterday's webinar, a step-on-step on where was the first trade taken and how we got to this level. This wasn't the first entry. The first entry was here, the second entry was here, and this was the third entry of the trade. So we considered these two break even. This was the third entry. This is your trade. Trade closed at this level. We have another entry for a sell here. We don't have a buy set up as yet on this. This is another flag for a sell. The question you would ask me is, well, what if it goes back up? Traders ask that. What if it goes back? Well, if it goes back up, I'm not in the seller. I already took the profit, right? I'm out of that trade. What if this is to go back up and retest this top again here? We will buy it. We will buy it. We know there's a new high. We didn't buy into this high because that didn't give us good risk to reward. But if you get a setup to buy here to go back to that top, then it's worth it. And can it actually go back? Absolutely. You're still going to be in the consolidation until this drops. And it will drop. That's a 99% chance of this thing dropping. I've seen many of them to know that 99% of the time that will happen. If you haven't seen them, go watch my webinars, you will see. So here's what we're going to do. Is this the question now you'd ask? Is since we're at this level, is this going to break out or is it going to go back up? That's the only question you should have at this point. Are we going to break out now or are we going to go, well, we will sell. Breakout or no breakout, we will sell it and then we'll manage the trade to either a break-even trade, which means if this is the fall drop here and go back up, we will still be in the trade for a break-even trade here. If it drops to the bottom, congratulations, that's a trade you're looking for. If it goes up from here, which I doubt it would because that's more of a flag setup, it's not the up move as yet. So the high probability is they will still break this low, either just break the low and reverse or break the low and go. There's a rare chance of this just going up. It could possibly happen, but even if that happens, it has to come here, make a flag, and only then we will be looking for a buy setup. And we know where the target is. So basically, this is what wave analysis is about. Again, going back to the guy who wrote me and wondering that, well, he actually said it loud. He said, you got it all wrong. Euro is going up. Congratulations. Where is it going? Up or down? So to that person, you should join my course, because if you don't, you'll lose your account. If you understand patterns, you know it's not going up. This is a pattern for downside, not for upside. We know it could break the top. If you go back and you look at my January, the first webinar I did when I did long term, I said this could stay here for a while. It might even go higher than this, but it will still be a consolidation for downside. And that's what wave analysis is about. We can see things you cannot see. That is because we've studied the past patterns. We understand them. We're very versed in the patterns, and we understand how they behave. There's a 90%, 80% chance we are going to be correct. You will be wrong, right? We don't just follow the movements and say, oh, well, it's going up now, it's going to heaven. It's not. You have to understand what this up moves actually mean and what pattern it is and what it could probably do. So it's not like we didn't buy this up, but we didn't buy it in the euro dollar. We bought it in other trades. The same thing, we're selling the euro dollar. We're not selling some of them because they don't have the perfect setup like the euro has. So we're still looking for a sell in the euro today. And I think a few guys have asked me how my traders are doing. There are a lot of them in the room right now. I don't think we should put them on the spot by asking them, but I can tell you there's a lot of successful traders in the room right now with me here that are listening. So they can go make their comments if they want, tell you. I don't really, find out how every single one of my traders are doing, but we have a rule. If any of our traders are in a 30% drawdown or even 20, 30% drawdown, they should call one of us. They will either call me or call one of the senior successful traders, and we will do one-on-one with them, and we will follow up to make sure that they don't go lower. So if I don't get a call, I assume they're doing well, or they're too shy to call me, or they've made some real blunder on their own, which they have seen and managed to correct by for themselves. Otherwise, we get those calls, and you will get that option as well when you join us. Right? So we're looking for this to go down more. We'll see where that goes. Let me go back to silver. Silver yesterday, remember we were saying we were thinking about selling it, but it could also be a flat here. It didn't go up as high as I would expect to be the flat, but silver, we were keeping an eye. So we didn't do anything in silver. We didn't sell it and we didn't buy it. This was a surprise move. No, well, not big surprise move, but it actually went, we were looking for the break of this stock in any case, right? But there wasn't a buy setup in it. So we didn't buy it. It go great. I'm still looking for a possible sell setup here now. Now that we broke the top, this one wasn't so much of a sell because we didn't break the top. But now that we broke the top, there's a good chance that this is a 1, 2, 3 corrective structure for one more down. Right? You can see it. Can this actually go up? Can this be the first impulse up, the correction, and the next impulse totally go up? It's possible. It means euro might just break the low and turn and go back up. Right? That is a possibility we have to look at. Those possibilities do exist. So what we would look for here now is whether we have a buy. Remember, we're still in the downside. This bigger correction will eventually go back up. Not exactly now. They could drop again and pull back and drop again and pull back, and they could stay within this range here. I don't know, like drop here slowly to this level, pull back, drop, and stay in this range for about a year. That is how long considered. Silver will not be a very tradable thing because you wouldn't get a lot of good trades in it. But you can trade euro. Euro might give you some wonderful trades, dropping all the time. So what we look for is what we get. Do we get a consolidation for upside, or do we get a reversal? Right now, it's mostly consolidating for upside. As it stands right now, this one would probably come here, come back here, and that would be more of a flat for upside. That could change during the day. If that changed tomorrow, you will see the change. I'll show you what patterns we're looking at and how we would, look at this whole structure. There's a very, very short-term sell. I wouldn't put it that for anybody. I think that's for more very, very experienced trader. That is this one. Very short-term sell that could be a running flat by coming here and then going back up. And that's not really a trade you can manage, or even a trade you want to manage. The risk to reward is no good, right? Let it consolidate, and then we will see whether we get a buy setup. Gold, remember I said we're not selling gold. We're only looking for the buy in gold. So although it dropped, we were not selling it. When it go back up, we had an entry order for a buy there. That is not tagged. Literally, it's going to consolidate more. You can see this piece is telling us that this consolidation is not over. They're going to drop again. Again, do you want to sell this? Because the last time they broke this, it only came to this level. That was a sell setup, but it only came here and went right back up. That's a break-even trade. It actually dropped again. There was no buy setup. We had an entry for a buy here. It came back. It's making another flag here. It could drop here again and then go back up. So the question is, do you want those small trades? If you're taking this trade here, it's going to come here and then drop. It might break this low, but then it's going to go right back up again because this seems to be making a channel here. Right? So if you understand the pattern, that's the risk. Can you get out of that trade for break-even? If you can, then it's a good sell. If you have the skill levels, and we have traders who can do that, not on the 1 hour, but on the 5 minutes, if they can take that trade and get out for break-even in the worst case scenario, then that's good. If you can't, don't do it. You don't have that skill level. Right? If you understand how these patterns behave in all time frame, then that's something when you reach that level you can do. You can go into 15 minutes, you will see the pattern clearly. You might even get a better entry. You want this to go back up slightly, break this top, or not even break the top. It's more of a running flat. You look for a trade down to this level, break the low, you take your profit, you watch it go back up. Is it going to go back up? Well, if it drops to the bottom, congratulations. You are in the trade, right? If it actually go back up, you're ready to get out of that trade. Even if it doesn't go this far, but stop and decide to go back up, you will have to get out for break even because this could literally break out at any point in time. I don't think it's going to break out now because we're getting a correction downwards. So I don't think it's going to break out. We'll probably stay in this consolidation for a while. So best thing, if you're not such a seasoned trader, don't trade it. Just leave it alone until this consolidation is finished. You can leave that entry order there. It's a valid entry order at that point. Nothing will happen to that. They will not tag you unless they do this. Now, if you get tagged like this and decide to come back down, we'll get out of it. This is the Aussie, the gold Aussie. We're tracking this for a different reason. It's coming down. Maybe we'll consider to sell today. I still don't like it. I would like it to go break this top first. There's a top here. Break that top first and then start to look for that sell. Right? It hasn't broken this top as yet. When that top is broken, then I'll consider. But from here, we will see. Maybe it's still in the bigger consolidation. Euro, you already saw what to do. We're looking for a sell setup. Pound, we sold yesterday. Also trade we told you about. And the same thing, we had 3 trials in the pound. So the first entry was here, right? The first entry was here, that closed there. The second entry was here, that closed in here. We literally closed that in the trading room. I think I even closed in the webinar. And then the next entry was here. You should close that here. Now we're getting this. It looks like it could go up. We don't have a buy setup as yet. We're still looking at this as a consolidation for downside. The only way this could change is if it actually makes a spike like this and then give us a flag. There is a small flag here, but I would not buy this flag in a down move like this. Right? It's too early. You can take it if you have the skill levels. I have traders who do that both ways. Literally, we have traders in the room who do it both ways. If you join the trading room, you'll probably practice to do that with them. It calls for a lot of skill levels and knowledge and understanding and experience. And if you have it, you can do it. If you don't, then you listen, you go to the 1 hour where you don't have to be nervous about what the trades you take. Aussie. Yeah, we sold the Aussie, we closed the Aussie. You can literally see that it didn't go anywhere. So what would we do? I think we'll put an entry order here. Yeah, it's still a sell setup. You may say, well, why do you still set up? Why are you closing it? Well, that's the strategy of how we trade so that we prevent losses. Most of our losses for the end of last year, and I think even the whole of last year, we hardly get a trade that go take your stop loss out when you're wrong. Right? We close them much earlier before that. The trades that go, like the euro, when it drops, you get in it. Those are the trades you're looking for, the impulses that goes, not the slow move down or the slow move up. So what are the chances of this dropping through the bottom here? It's pretty high, and they can retest this low. Maybe go to the 270. If they're going to go back up, if this is going to go back up, I wanted to go up, make a flat like this. We bought this, we closed it here, we bought it here. We'll repeat the same process to the top here. And the reason we're buying it is it has to break that up. We even bought this one and close it for break even. So the reason we will buy when we get this is because they will retest that top and then drop. It is still going to drop, right? Because it's a correction upwards. And New Zealand, which is exactly the one you're looking at, right? This is exactly the same structure. Structurally, can this go back up? Yes, it can also go back up. I doubt it would, but it can go back up, right? So if you're taking this first one, we kept the first one, but those who didn't take the first one would take the second one here. And it dropped. So 1, 2, 3, 4, they will close it at this level. This trade should have been closed here. Maybe slightly above break even, 3 or 4 pips above break even. If you close it to break even, okay. If not, you got about 5 pips loss. Your stop on that trade, it should be here. So this was your stop loss. This was your entry. This is where you close the trade. It's going against you. That's a rule. What I just showed you, there's a rule we have in our rule when to close the trade how to close each specific trade. There's not a standard rule for one trade. There's a standard rule for each specific behavior that the trade will do. Like if it does this, you have to do this. It's going up. Okay, can it go back to the top? Take out these two. Yes, it can, which means euro might break the low and go back up as well. We'll watch this to trade it. We'll trade it back to this top, right? So the same thing, we want this to go up. We want it to start to consolidate. See this consolidation here? It has to start to consolidate, and then we'll look for the buy to retest that top. Maybe it doesn't go in a single move. Maybe it goes like this, consolidate, go like this, consolidate, go. We will take them, close them, take them, close them until you get the spike. If we never get the spike, that's okay. We'll live with it, right? So watching it, could it also be a bigger consolidation before it drops? Could it be that this comes here, come back down to the bottom, go back up there, make a flat, and then drop? Again, if you know patterns, you will see that happening and you will know how to trade it, and definitely it would be a sell. This pattern will have to break this low. There's almost a 99% chance they break the low. It's very rare when you have an impulse like this, you have a huge flat like this at the bottom. It's a huge flat now. You can make an argument for this is probably 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. If this goes up back, it will come here. So this would be 1, 2, 3 as a flat looking pattern for downside. But there is a rare opportunity where this big flat here, let me use a different color for that red. This big flat here that is normally so huge only in a corrective structure actually is the start of an impulse. With a very small impulse like this, a big correction like this, and this one takes off to the top. That happens, but it's rare. In the big picture of New Zealand, it should go back up. So in the daily, it should go back up, right? The daily structure is upside. See this daily structure, we're consolidating towards the downside. If you notice, our target on the weekly chart is to the upside. This is our target on the weekly chart. This is what we're targeting on the weekly chart, the 270. But the downside correction is still active, which means this, we're still looking at this as a flag to actually break that low and maybe then start the upside. So we're looking at a sell setup here on the 1 hour. This is the weekly chart. So on the 1 hour, it's still a sell setup. What would change that? Well, we will be buying this if this goes up, but we'll be buying it that it's only coming to this top. That is that level there, and then still go back down. If we're wrong and we're in the buy and it actually keeps going up, well, congratulations to us. It's good to be wrong in that sense when you have a big flat at the bottom there and this actually go up. That is rare. It's not as common something that you used to see. They will normally break the bottom or the top. Here's a good example. See this big flat here? They broke the top and then dropped. They didn't drop from the flat itself. They broke the top, then dropped. That's a common thing you see. They'll break the top or the bottom in the case of that and then go, right? Normally what you'll see is a very big impulse, a small consolidation, and a takeoff. So will this drop or is it going to go back up from this pattern? I think it will drop. So we'll look for buy setup here today. If we get it, if they make a flat, we'll be selling. That means we don't have a trade on this until the next 6 hours. Yen, yep, we bought it, we closed it, positive. We actually closed it in the trading room positive because we bought it here. The first buy was here, that closed. Second buy was here, closed there. It's actually making a flag for downside. I'm not selling it. I'm not interested in the selling the yen as yet. The yen, this pattern looks very well. So what I'm going to wait for is the next flag if I'm going to sell it, which means I'm not selling this flag at the top here because this flag could still be part of a flat for upside, which means I'm going to put an entry order for a buy here. I'm still interested in a buy in the yen. So my entry order for the buy goes there. If it goes up, if this thing stops here and make a sudden spike, I want that trade. Let's go back to yellow. The red is bothering me, sorry. Let's go back to the yellow. Yep. So go there. I still want that trade. If this goes down more, it has to make a flag here, like drop like this. Well, we sold this, we saw that, but it has to drop beyond this point, which means beyond this point, make a flag here, and then I'll look for a trade out. See, right now there isn't a sell setup in that. There is a sell setup, not a trade I'm taking. So let's see. Is it downside more or is it upside? We'll see today, we'll know. US CAD. CAD, we're looking for the sell. We consider whether we can buy this yesterday. I think I mentioned it in the webinar. Some of my traders would trade that, and they're very much aware that it might not even break the top. It's going to likely go up here, and then we're still looking for the sell. So now we can make an assumption that we might be making a bigger flat here. I'll show you how that structurally changed the whole pattern we're looking at. You can't sell it at the bottom here. You literally can put an entry only at the bottom here, and you'll have to be careful of that entry because there's a good chance you're making 1, 2, 3 and go back up higher, or even stay in here for a while and then go back up higher and then come down, which means you get something like this, because this is unlikely going to drop to the bottom. It is unlikely, possible, but unlikely. So I'm putting my entry order here, not here. This is a big risk. See how that changes and how the strategy changed in that one? You would have to know these patterns, know how they develop, and know which pattern is going to behave how, so that you don't say, okay, well, we broke the trend line, let's sell it. Most traders will say, well, okay, look, we broke the trend line, sell it here, and that's your trap, because you sell it here and it does this, take you in and go right back up there. All you're looking for is a bigger consolidation here. So you can't do that. You have to understand that that possibility exists. So I would wait for it to prove to me that it's actually going to drop. If it breaks this low, I believe it's dropping. It could still be a running flat, but that is something I can manage. If we get a flag here, if we get this to make a good flag here, and I can see that this is a pretty good flag, although it can drop here and go back up, I will still take the trade, because now I can manage my way out of that for break even. So let's wait and see what it's doing. I still think it's consolidating, and we'll probably consolidate some more. I don't think this is dropping right now. So we'll wait and see. Swiss absolutely won the sell, although I think it's going to go more. Yesterday we saw this. I don't know if you remember, if I mentioned it in the webinar or in my trading room. We saw this. We knew it was going to come break the top, and I said to my traders, just a short trade if you want, take it. I think I mentioned it. If you want, take it. You'll probably get another one here. This is going to come down. You'll probably get another retest of the top. But all of this is still consolidation for downside as far as I'm concerned for now. So I'll move this entry order up just a little to this level. Just to that level. That's where my entry order for the sell stays. I'm not buying it at the moment. I don't want those small trades. I'm not, the risk to rewards on them is not good. The risk is very high. Is that they will tag you and drop suddenly, and you would have to take a small loss in it. A very small loss, but you'll have to take it. So the chances of this thing coming down here is still pretty high. If you doubt me, and I think you might have your doubts, I want you to go back and watch this piece. Watch all the webinars from here, from this moment here. Watch all these webinars, because these arrows were there before. And you would watch, see how they behave, and you will see the possibility of how this pattern develop and how we actually forecast that it's going to come here and then go back up. There was an arrow to the top here also. And those were forecasts that was made way before all of that happened, because that's how the wave analysis work. You can see patterns way before they complete themselves, as long as you have enough parts in them to make a prediction that it's possible it's going to be this pattern. So let's go. Europa. That's a drop. And if you had your entry order there, congratulations, you've got yourself a good trade. See, put it on the 1 hour. That is where you should put your entry order. That's a good trade that you can actually keep now. See? So when it was going up, go back, watch the webinar. We're not interested in the buy. I literally said that many times. We're not interested in the buy, although we think it could go up some more. We saw this and knew this could go up some more. We're not interested in buy. We want to sell because this is a big correction. And if there's anything sudden is going to happen to the downside, you can actually get a second sell here. It's not a flag as yet. I would not put an entry because they're making lower lows. They're not making a flag as yet. They're just going very slow. So it's a good sell. You should be in it. If you want to sell here, the risk is they will tag you and then start to make the consolidation. If you're in the trade, you can actually just move your stop, put it to break even, put it to the profit, do whatever you want. We have to break this low, and then we could go much lower than that because we are coming out of this structure. See, we're coming out of the possible. Go back and watch my weekly webinar. We think this could possibly be a big running flat. And if it is a big running flat, then this could be the start of a big move to the downside, this entire move here. So the first sell on this one was here. I think that was the second sell. The first sell was this small flag here that we closed. So go back to the 1 hour. Let me see if you can see that. Yeah, we'll go back to that level. Yes. So the first sell on this one we actually did was this. We closed it here. We put a second entry here. That goes. We closed this. We didn't keep this all the way. But that was the first sell. There were a few sells in here that were break-even trades. I think there was a second. The next sell we put was under this one for the running flat. It was under this one for the running flat, which we closed there. And then we took a few sells in here that didn't go. I think was somewhere in here or somewhere in here. I can't remember where the tag stayed there for 4, 5, 6 hours. We closed them. And now you have this sell. So the ones that are not going, you close, you get rid of them. And the one that drops, this is the trade you keep because this is the one that's going. If it starts to turn at any point there, we'll close it. Right now, there's no reason to close that trade. Euros, yeah, it might be still going down. I think one guy said it's going to go to heaven because I said it's going to go down. Congratulations. I hope he learned from the Bitcoin guy, or he learned from the Euro guy. He wouldn't make the same mistake. It's not about what I said, guys, it's about the patterns we see. We're just good at seeing the patterns. That's the difference between me and you, is that I can see the patterns much clearer than you can see them, right? It still looks downside. Here's what, I'll take this out and I'll leave the option that there might be a running flat here. Right, so I'll leave the option that this could come here, make a running flat, go back up there, make a new high, but this would still be a corrective structure for downside. As of now, I don't see the change to the upside. I'm not saying that it's impossible. I'm saying I don't see the change whereby this takes off to the upside, even on the bigger picture. Not in the big picture, not in the small picture. I don't see a big move to the upside coming to 71 as he said it's going to go. I think he said 71 or 72. It's not going to do that because it's not showing me that. If I see that, of course, that's what I would say. Hey, you know what? This pattern has that possibility. As of now, that possibility is not there. Maybe later sometime if structurally everything changed, but that has to be a lot of changes happening, which means this would have to literally come here, take off like a rocket, breaking all of these stops, and then we'll say, you know what? Yeah, this possible is going to go. But I don't see that happening here. Would we buy this to the upside here? Absolutely. If this becomes a running flat to go up, we will be in the buy because we know that the buy would break this stop for sure and might even come back to retest this stop because you have 1, 2, 3, you have 1, 2, 3, then you're going to get another 1, 2, 3 here. And then, yes, that could go to 71. Only then I would see this as a possibility for that to happen. As of now, that possibility is not there. Can it literally drop from here all the way to the bottom? It can. I don't think it will, but we'll wait for a flag here. If we get a consolidation here that is good enough, if we think this consolidation is going to give us one more impulse to even retest this low, we'll take the trade and hope that it drops through the bottom. Right? We do have divergence, which is a good sign. We'll see. We'll watch it and we'll keep our eyes on that one. You're in New Zealand. So we bought this, we closed it, we bought it, we closed it, we bought it back here yesterday. And my traders should have closed it. I don't know if they did. They should have closed it. This would have been a small loss because if you got tagged here, it didn't give a consolidation until this level. So this is where you would probably close it if you closed it. If you didn't close it, wait for this to pull back and then we will close the trade. Now the stop on this trade is here, which means you've agreed to take a loss here. So we'll keep it. I think the closing should have been here. Take half of the loss or less and then wait to see what it does. If you're still in the trade, it's still upside. That has not changed. The upside structure has not changed. But the chances are it could come to here and then go, which is you're going to look at this as a 1, 2, 3, and then go. So if you got tagged there, we take the loss here. We'll look for a sell setup. We don't have any sell setup in this, which means some of my traders might still be in that trade, the ones who can handle it. We'll be waiting for this consolidation here to close this trade and then to enter that trade. Because it will make a flag if you're going to drop. If not, they'll go right back up to the top. We don't have a buy setup today. We'll be most likely looking for a sell setup. So we'd wait for this to make, not the small flags. The small flags would probably be your exit. If any trader took that small one, you put it to break even. We'll wait for a bigger one, something that will give you a flat here, and then we'll look for a sell setup to this level, go back up to the top. See? So this one didn't give us the perfect. I think this one we got close. This one we got good. We close this one here, and then this drop here, you'll have to close it here. If you didn't, we'll still get a chance to close it around there because it will pull back. And that's the point where you close it. We look for the sell. We'll take this sell, and then we'll be looking for the upside. What if it just reversed like this? We'll still get in the buy. There will still be an opportunity to buy. We don't have a buy setup today. Euro CAD. So let's see, Euro CAD, we're still expecting this to go up, but this dropped, so we didn't take that trade. It's still this whole correction is still incomplete because I don't see this as, we looked at this first, but it doesn't look like a complete. This is too small to be the B wave, so I would not be selling this. It's not worth the risk. Sell the euro. Why sell this one, right? So we'll leave this. If it ever goes up, we'll take the trade to the upside because now that we broke the low, If this goes back up, it's going to be a big move to the upside, right? Now that the low is broken. So if this goes back up, it could be the start of a big move to the upside. It would be a better buy setup than a sell setup. So I'm not interested in selling this here, especially not with that correction. And we'll see. We'll see if it goes back up. And from there, we'll look for a trade to the upside. Let's go to the Euro Swiss. Euro Swiss is coming down. We anticipate the downside. We just didn't take the sell because it's in this sharp move. So this one was going to come down this trade here, but I didn't think it was going to go very far. They might just drop here and then you can go back up because this is one sharp move. So eventually this has to be a correction, maybe even a lower correction to this level, but you have to go back up to that level before you can drop. Before I get into sells on this, I would have to see a pattern that says you can sell it. This sell is in the B wave, right? On the 1 hour, there was a sell setup, but that's in the B wave. So I'd rather skip this sell, take the Euro sell. Take the sell on the one that has a structure to go. This one is in the B part of it, so I'm not selling it. It's not a sell setup, I'm not selling it. Instead we sold the pound CAD, which has a similar structure, the pound Swiss, which had a similar structure. So we sold the pound Swiss as pound CAD. Euro yen, yeah, you could have sold this one. It didn't go anywhere. It actually did come back, break the low. So now we're in this structure, this entire corrective structure. And it is a corrective structure. I don't see it as being dropping to the downside totally, right? This would eventually go back up. It's a very, very deep pullback. We've had deep pullback like that. If you look at this first move down, you've got a deep pullback here. You've got this, you've got a deep pullback there. You've got a deep pullback here. And eventually you get the final move. This had already got a lot of deep pullback in here. So this drop here could still be part of that move, which means I wouldn't be surprised if we go back to the top there. And that means we've got to watch the dollar very, very carefully, the euro very carefully for if the euro is going to break the low and then go back up, right? That possibility exists because this move is a corrective structure. So we're not selling in the corrective structure. At least not if you don't have a very good sell setup, and we didn't have a good sell setup at the top. The good sell setup you're getting is way at the bottom here, which is not the trade. You don't sell that into this one, right? It could tag you here and then go right back up. Just skip the trade. That's all. It's a risky trade. You wouldn't want to take it. You take something that has a less risk in it. Pangos. Okay, it's going sideways. There is a buy setup, and I will consider buying this one here. I'll consider the buying here because if this goes, expect it to go back to that top, maybe even break out. It's either going to go just to the top and come back down, like what the euro yen did, right? Go there and come back down or break out. One of those two, right? So we have one down, we have 1, 2, 3 up. We have one down. If you get 1, 2, 3 up, you'll probably come back down here. There is a chance it can break out. So the buying of this is worth it. The risk to reward is good if it breaks out. If it doesn't break out, you're going for a break-even trade. So I'll consider buying that. Pound Swiss, we sold this, consider that a break-even trade because I would have put it to break-even. They were about 30-something plus pips. There was no reason to close the trade. Yeah, that was 34 pips and we had no reason to close it. So that would have been a break-even trade. It didn't consolidate. It would consolidate, would have closed the trade. It's probably still going down. We'll see if we get another sell set up on it. We don't have anything in that right now. Pound Yen, it's kind of going down, but again, it's in the same pattern that seems corrective. So I'll be very cautious of trying to sell it at the bottom here and we'll wait. We don't have anything in that as yet. Pound New Zealand, nothing here. Pound CAD, sell, we sold this, we sold this. This one we closed. This one was closed for profit, right at the bottom here. Went them back, we didn't get any trade for the buy, we don't have anything for the sell. The chances are this might come back here, might consolidate bigger here, like this big consolidation, but just a flat consolidation here, and then we'd look for a sell again. Right, that's a high probability. Right now, we don't have anything. Right, so unlike the pound Swiss, which went back for breaking, the pound CAD you close because there was enough reason to close it. Aussie yen. Aussie yen is a sell if you want. I think you got another sell here. You have to be just slightly careful, right? If you're selling this, the sell was here, probably a break-even trade, I'll call it. It didn't drop to give you profit. It's kind of break-even. There might be a sell here again, but I'll be very careful with this because we're kind of doing this thing and there's a good chance they might go back here. We don't have a buy setup, but if we do get a buy setup, if we get a flag on the upside, if they go here, make a flag, we'll go with that trade to the top. So let's wait and see. It could be that this thing is making some kind of a flat pattern here. This whole piece is making a flat pattern. See that made a flat there and then drop. Go back up. This piece, for example, it dropped, broke the low, go back up and then drop. So this could come back up here and then drop again. We'll see. It's not a good trade right now. Not for the buy, not for the sell. Aussie CAD, pretty slow. Leave it. Aussie Swiss. Yep, you're getting a sell setup. Here's the problem with this. I'm not expecting it to go very far. So this is a sell setup. I think it would probably just break this low, maybe tag this low. It doesn't have to tag the low. We broke the top, come to about this level and then go right back up. So if you're going to take this trade, it might even just break this low and turn. You have to be able to manage your way out to break even if that happens, because it will go back up. This is a flat for upside because the impulse was coming from the bottom, right? The impulse is coming from this side. See, this is the sharp move into that. You get a sharp move, you get a flat, you get another sharp move. You get a sharp move, you get a flat, you get another sharp move, right? You get a sharp move from the top, you get a big running flat, you get another sharp move. That is why we sold this one. So this, we sold this at the top here, but we'll not be selling this here. Maybe my traders will take it. We'll see what's the risk to reward in the 15 minutes, what the trade looks like. If you get a good one, whether it's worth taking the trade, where you put your entry, where you put your stop, and consider whether this is a good trade to take, whether the risk is worth it. If it just do this and go back up, if we can get out for breaking, I think maybe we'll just leave it, let it drop, and then look for the buy setup afterwards. Aussie, New Zealand, stay out of this. Literally stay out of that thing. It's not moving anywhere. It's moving up and down, but very slow, and the movements themselves are very slow. CAD is pulling back, so let's see if we're going to get a flat here, which is most likely what is going to happen. You might end up with a flat somewhere here. If you get a flag here, we'll sell it. If it pulls back like this, we'll sell it. We'll sell it to break this low. This is too sharp to be the B part. So if we're consolidating there, we'll consolidate quite more. And if we're making a running flat, this could drop, 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 pull back here, make a running flat, and go down. So this sell would be a good idea if we get this setup. We don't have a setup for a sell, but if we get it, we'll take it. Even if you're consolidating in this range here, the sell is a good idea. So let's wait and see if we have. There was probably, let me see in the 1 hour. If there's nothing in the 1 hour yet, just wait. If it makes a flag, then we'll sell. Swiss yen. Okay, so we were looking for the sell yesterday in the trading room. This was not the this was not where the sell would have been. Oh yeah, that was where the sell would have been. Yeah, that's where we sold it in the 15 minutes. You should have closed the trade here. Don't keep it. I should have closed the trade here, and an entry should be here. But we will not put an entry here because we're coming back very close to the trend line. The place that it could stop is here. You can actually do that if you want, put it, because it could stop here and go back up. Right? I think when I came in, my traders were discussing this, and yes, it's absolutely right. You might be also, you can look at this as the B part. It's possible that this could be the B part. It's also possible that we're going to come here and go back up, and this will become more of a flat like this. Go back up and then drop. So instead of selling this here, you just take that off yesterday, that little piece, and instead of selling it, let it break. If we get a flag, we'll see. But if you do sell it, watch it at this level. Let me put a line so you know. Watch it at this level here for a possible running flat in there. If you haven't done it, don't sell it now. Let's wait. We'll look for another sell. New Zealand yen. Yep, you can get a sell set up here. It will be short term because you can see the impulses are starting to become very, very small now. Right there, kind of pulling back, small impulse, pull back, small impulse, probably pull back again. Within this range, it might just start going back up very soon. Right, look at the 1 hour, you'll see that they will start to go back up very soon. It's kind of going downwards, coming back here, but it's not dropping. Right, it's not making the impulse we expect this to make. Right, they actually did this, it's coming, and if this drop here, it'll probably do this, go back there, drop, come here, and then go back up to the top. So it's a sell. It's a good one. If they drop suddenly, that would be a good trade. And it's an active trade. So you guys can put your entry order and go for the trade. If you're not in the trade, you can put an entry order here. But for traders who don't know wave analysis, this is a very risky trade because the impulses are short, right? It's a very short impulse. So they could literally tag you here and start going back up within that structure. New Zealand Swiss, take it off. Leave it for now. It's going sideways and up, which means eventually it might break this low. We'll wait for the better sell setup. That's not a good one. New Zealand CAD. Okay, this one is going back up. Take off this. This was if you kept it, you would want to close it now. I don't think anybody kept it. It's about 2 or 3 break-even trades. Let's wait, see what this does. If it gives us a buy setup, we'll go for it. I think it could be a running flat with this one. Right. So if we get a buy setup somewhere here, we'll go for that trade up. CAD Swiss. Yep, look for the sell. Even just for this drop to the downside. Let's get a sell here in this one. And this. The sell is not ready in the CAD Swiss. You can put an entry order here if you want. We can put an entry order there. We know how to manage. It's pretty much like the Euro pound. You put the entry order. If it drops to the bottom, you take it. If it doesn't, if it goes slow, you get rid of the trade. And this is okay. It came back here. It's going down, but not as convincing as we would expect it to go. So we're not selling here. This could even be a flag for upside. Could this be the bottom of the consolidation and we go back up one more? Could this possibly come back here one more like to that level? It's possible. I just don't know where we put this as yet. We'll wait and see. But if it breaks this low, the sell here is a good idea. Don't go with the bias yet. Keep this sell and let's see if it consolidates here some more. The sell is still valid until this breaks the top. If it breaks the top, then we'll take off the sell. So okay, guys, the webinar is very long. We have still all of this to do. So I'm going to skip all the Bitcoin and skip all the stocks today. We'll do that in our trading room later. I have to go out today. So when I come back, I will do the second part of this webinar for the YouTube viewers. So if you watch it at this level, you know I'll do it for you later, right? So there will be a second part of today's webinar. So let me stop the recording here.